Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Invisible Walls. I'm Shane Satterfield, editor-in-chief of the site. Hopefully you guys and girls have noticed over the last couple weeks that we have been changing the show a little bit, listening to your feedback, what you guys think of the site, and our pieces of media is very important to us. So I want you to know we're listening, keep the comments coming, and we'll keep tweaking the show until you guys are all satisfied. And without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to the people who will be talking with you today. To my right is Ryan Stevens, not that you can see him to my right. What's up, man?
Not much, just off the cuff, unscripted.
Yeah, unscripted. Wait, where's the teleprompter?
Yeah.
Justin Spear, who definitely is not reading off a teleprompter. How you doing today?
Doing well.
And then we have Patrick Morales, associate editor for the site.
Hey, what's up?
He's actually scrolling the wheel for the teleprompter.
I am. I'm holding cardboard cutouts right now.
And then rounding out the group is Daniel Bloodworth. How you doing, man?
Hey, doing good.
First, we're going to roll out a new segment called Footage of the Week. Then we're going to move on to On the Hook, which is where we answer your questions. And if we answer your questions, you guys are going to get kicked down some serious GTD. Then we're going to go to the news. Finally move on to a bit of insider-y, I don't know how best to describe it. We haven't really come up with a catchy name yet for this segment. But basically we're going to...
Without swearing.
Without swearing, right. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to let you guys in on some stuff that we have to deal with on a daily basis as a video game website. We can only go so far, but this is going to be our first attempt at doing that. Hopefully we won't have to censor too much. Then we're going to talk about Dark Sector, which came out this week. And then we're going to move on to one-word reviews, and the target this week is Crisis Core. This week was a really good week for media on Game Trailers. Put up lots of good stuff. I guess I'll start. My favorite piece of media on the site this week was our exclusive trailer for Grid. Codemasters, always known for doing great racing games. But I think this one literally is sort of their opus. Obviously we haven't played the game yet, but it was, as the trailer denotes, actual in-game footage. And it looks amazing. To me, it's probably the best-looking racing game I've ever seen, for whether it's for PC or for consoles. You can see when the cars flip over, even the underside of the cars is modeled. So I was really impressed with that. If you guys haven't watched it already, check it out.
Well, I was probably going to say Grid, and I guess it was actually last week now, but I think Motorstorm 2 was probably the most entertaining. Again, not actual gameplay, probably.
Do we know that?
Nah, but after last time, I'm just going to assume it's CG. But I like just how misogynistic it was. That woman just kept getting beaten on the head all over the place. And I mean, may not be PC, but I found that a little bit entertaining.
Do you think that's going to turn into the next sort of controversy? Why, after they went through the whole thing with the first game, would they do another CG trailer? I actually am in the camp of people that I want to believe that it's real. You guys all say I'm crazy for thinking that, but I honestly think it could be real. I think the PlayStation 3 is capable of visuals like that. I don't know if they've reached it yet, but I think it's possible.
I think it's capable. I'm just curious if it can be consistent.
Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah.
Probably.
I'll agree to that.
Yeah. What about you, Justin? What was your favorite piece of media on the site this week?
I kind of liked getting a first look at End War.
Yeah. I actually played that game at GDC for a little bit, and I was really, really impressed with it. The voice command works great. And, I can't wait to see people really getting a chance to explore that game a little more.
You played it?
I did play it, yes.
How are the controls beyond the voice? RTS on console?
There aren't
still
any,
not sold.
really. I mean, it's all voice commands. And surveying the battlefield.
Voice command optional? You can actually use a regular.
I never touched a weapon or operated a tank. I just sat there and gave voice commands and watched my guys go to work. Maybe there is an option to take control. I never used it. It was pretty sweet, man. Like, it recognized my voice commands no matter how sloppily I tried to say some of the stuff, too, and no matter how quickly I spoke. I was definitely impressed with them more, no doubt. P. Morales.
What up?
What was your favorite piece of media on the site this week?
Well, apart that the stuff that we make, in which case that would be the Crimson Viper expose that just went up. I'd have to say the Valkyria Chronicles trailer that went up. It's looking good. I mean, as a RPG fan, it seems to be interesting because they're venturing into this kind of weird hybrid system of a tactical war game and a third-person shooter. Plus, it has that that Eternal Sonata look. So I'm definitely getting interested in how that's going to turn out.
Cool. What about you, Bloodworth?
Okay, mine's a little weird and offbeat, but the Ninja Gaiden TV spot, the DS TV spot, I don't know that, it's definitely not the best piece of media this week, but it's just so bizarre to me. I mean, first of all, it has the disclaimer, this is a professional stunt ninja. Most of this is live action. it says, rated T for teen, but the whole tone of it feels like something that they're going to run like in between Saturday morning cartoons at 10 a.m.
It looked like one of the submissions for our user movie contest, honestly. Not quite there, but I could see where you would have liked.
Yeah, it's like this is a franchise that's, we're used to like limbs flying and blood everywhere, and it's like the commercial just doesn't give you that tone. Even though it's on the DS, something's a little off there.
I guess they probably looked at it like we need to strike a new audience, so we need to probably change how we advertise and do things like that. So, and I think that was successful. Obviously, it resonated with you, right? You remembered it, which is the most important part of any advertising. All right, next up is a brand new segment called On the Hook. Now, it took a little while for us to get this in the show because it's all about us answering your questions. So obviously, you had to know the show existed first before you could ask us questions. But now this is our third episode. We finally have some good questions from you guys. And the best of all, if we read your questions in the show, what will they get, Ryan?
They'll get 1,000 GTD.
1,000 unmarked GTD.
Got one from Quirpy. Quirpy says, the Meet GT was totally off. Instead of meeting the other people in the industry and seeing what they do, you just talked about WikiCheats. Sure, it must have been a big project for him, but I want to know more about what people in the industry do and not have a review of one of their projects.
Fair enough. I think that's a fair criticism.
Yeah,
accurate.
watching the first episode, I think the WikiCheats thing was a little dry.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was dry. I just think we didn't really take the right angle with it. We should have talked to him more about how he got his job at GT instead of what was up with WikiCheats.
Yeah.
As awesome as WikiCheats is.
Less the shameless plug angle and more.
Yeah, I don't think it was a shameless plug. I think
There's some shame.
A little. Maybe you had shame.
Yeah, it's my secret shame.
I don't have any shame in letting people know about something that I believe in. I think WikiCheats is cool, but at the same time, that's not what the segment was designed for. I mean,
Well, we'll have him back on the show.
We will, and we
He's
promise
got
to get
cool
him back.
stuff coming, and we'll tell you guys how he broke in. Pretty interesting story. If we can get him to truncate it a little bit.
Yeah. So we apologize. We did kind of screw that up. We'll make it better.
All right, well, this one's from DFury90, and it's about a game that we're all looking forward to, Grand Theft Auto 4. I would like to know why the general audience has not been shown any actual gameplay footage of GTA 4 when it is so close to launch. I'm sure that the game will be amazing, but it scares me a bit that I have yet to see true gameplay footage.
You have.
Yeah.
And you just don't know it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's kind of how Rockstar rolls. They show you what the engine looks like, but they just don't show gameplay until the game gets out there.
Yeah, I mean, everything you guys have seen in the trailer is gameplay.
That's the game. They're just sticking the camera somewhere so it has more of a dramatic angle, but that's what the game looks like.
I mean, I've seen it, you've seen it. I don't remember anything being really overly dramatic with the HUD. I don't think you're missing much on that angle.
No, I mean, it looks like Grand Theft Auto. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not that hard to imagine. Just, it's high res and things look a little better. I mean, it looks like GTA. The HUD looks the same. When you're driving a car, it looks the same. Obviously, well, that's not true, actually. There's the cool chase cam that you can use anytime you're chasing after another car where it pops out to a dramatic view and you can still control the car as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see some... I think back to the GTA stunt videos we've seen in the past. We're going to see some awesome stuff with these new cameras and everything. But you can't save replays. There are no replays or anything.
That's kind of hard in an open world game to do replay, though. But yeah, to answer your question, you're looking at gameplay. It's just that they're sticking a camera somewhere so it looks a little more dramatic and cool. But that's what the game looks like. Next up is Daniel Bloodworth. What's the question?
Hey, so we got a couple of comments on the Invisible Walls logo. First from Rhino86. That IW logo looks a lot like the Tiger Woods official logo. And then Master says the logo reminds me of the Hartford Whalers.
Go Whalers!
It's a
I'm a
noble
nutmegger.
logo, so
The Whalers logo is the best logo ever. I love it. Next to maybe the Milwaukee Brewers. Their old logo. People don't realize that mitt is actually an M and a B. You guys ever noticed that?
Have you ever seen the Maryland state flag? It's so awesome. It looks like a race car flag. But it's a state flag, so it's really cool. Oh, yeah, but Tiger Woods. Who's that guy?
Yeah.
So either our designer is either a really ardent golf fan or he has no clue.
well, you can keep trying.
They should rip
Yeah,
off the Tiger
It's
Woods
strike
logo.
gold.
Yeah.
How about that?
Eventually.
How about we have all our users have a contest to create the logo for Invisible Walls? And if we find one good enough that we all can agree on is worth replacing the one we have now, we'll give them 2,000 GTD.
Sounds like a plan.
That works for me. That's
That's
pretty
a
much-
lot of GTD, man.
That's pretty much all the GTD I've got. I'll give it up for a good logo.
You're getting Shane's personal
Whole life
GTD.
savings.
I like that.
I've been surfing the site every day as my job for 2 years, and I only have 3,200. So 2
Got a
Gs is a
screenshot of
lot
that.
of GTD. So get cracking.
Money, money, money is all you need.
Money, money, money is all you need.
I guess one of the biggest stories is Midway's CEO just left. Company's been on a bit of a downward turn for the last several years. With really, I mean, what has really done well for Midway over the past couple years? I mean, obviously Mortal Kombat's a cha-ching every time, but what else?
Did what was the John Woo game?
Stranglehold.
Did that sell okay? I mean, it was kind of mediocre. Not mediocre. I don't want to be that. It wasn't a blockbuster that Penny Arcade thought it was going to be.
It was basically a blip on the sales charts.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, last Q4 was probably the worst time you could ever choose to release a game with the competition that was out there. But still, I think they'd probably have to say they underperformed compared to what they wanted.
Well, I'm hoping
Or-
they release another budget Narc title for the Wii, because I think jamming a Wiimote into my arm would be kind of fun. Leave a bruise. Very realistic.
Yeah, so it sounds like Midway's on the skids. Maybe Phil Harrison can go over there and save them. Or someone like Phil Harrison. I mean, Midway has a lot of great IP. The problem is they've just kind of squandered it away over the last whatever amount of time.
Does anyone have a Midway game they want to see?
I'm trying to remember the sports games.
I want Psyops too. I like the first Psyops. I know it got reviewed all over the place, but I thought it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty good. You could surf on a sheet of metal, pop people's heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the coolest
with
part,
physics.
when you could use your mind to float a piece of metal and then stand on top of it and
Just
float
kinda
yourself
surf
around.
Well, I guess when most people mention Midway, they immediately think about Mortal Kombat. I want to see them actually make a good Mortal Kombat game, to stack up against the big ones coming out this year, like Street Fighter 4, Soul Calibur 4, etc.
What would they have to do?
That's the thing.
All right, next we're going to talk about Ubisoft locking down the Tom Clancy name for pretty much everything. Coffee mugs, backpacks,
Isn't
lunchboxes.
it only limited to interactive electronic media or something?
It
No,
is? No, I thought they
don't
just
think
bought
so.
it.
Is it really?
So could they publish
Wow.
books right now and put Tom Clancy's name on them?
Written by some other dude.
That would be a nightmare because the story in Rainbow Six Vegas 2 is so terrible. Maybe that's why he just decided to sell it. He's like, look, they're putting my name on this stuff already, and it's pretty awful.
Well, isn't he just like a brain in a jar right now or
Yeah.
something?
Why would you just say, here it is, go ahead and take it. You don't have to give me any money after this. It's like,
I'm assuming they cut him a fat check up front.
And does Tom Clancy matter? Does it really need to be called Tom Clancy's
I don't
Rainbow
think
Six?
anyone really is paying
there's probably-
attention to
there's
that.
a
They
handful
built
of.
a reputation, kind of.
I mean, there's that clang at the end of all their commercials that says Tom Clancy. I mean,
Well,
is it
people are going to be
stop-
like, oh, it's a Tom Clancy game. Well, I like other Tom Clancy games. Maybe I'll like this Tom Clancy game.
I hate Russia. I hate Korea.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
still called Rainbow Six.
Yeah, you're still Splinter Cell,
Yeah, but these.
Rainbow
Okay,
Six,
here's the thing.
Gun War, they're all
people,
so different.
people are afraid of ghosts, and most people hate rainbows, but they like Tom Clancy.
Who hates rainbows?
I'm raising my
Cave
hand.
developers.
Okay, next we're going to move on to a segment we're trying for the first time as well. This is basically a segment that lets you inside the industry and lets you sort of, get the inside look on things that happen in GT that you may not know about. Now, we can only go so far with this, obviously. Some things we can't share with you guys. But we did want to talk about one thing we've run into recently, and that is what we like to call bullshit embargoes. We're not going to name any games specifically, but recently we've had a couple instances where people send us games to review, and obviously we're lucky enough to be able to put up our reviews early or right when the game is released. But then there's this stipulation that certain parts of these games can't be shown even after the game is released, and the game is out there, and people are putting up their videos on YouTube.
It's been really frustrating.
It is frustrating.
It's like you think something's okay, and then it's still not okay, and and then you have to put it up later, and people are like, we already saw this before, or this is old, and et cetera, and just basically you lose the steam.
I mean, we understand spoilers, obviously. We don't want to spoil the game for anybody. And anytime we put a spoiler in a video, we always tag it as such. So if people want to watch it, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. But, I mean, these embargoes are going from a month after the game's release
Yeah.
date.
Well, let me ask, as the elder statesman of game trailers, is this embargo past the game's release date a recent thing? Because I've only seen it as of recently.
I've never, ever had to deal with it. We've dealt with it twice in the last 2 months.
But you know what? Those two different companies, but you know what they have in common?
They're both from Japan.
They're both from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating for us because, we want to explore all the games that we can get our hands on and show them to you guys in unique ways. And then we're restricted in what we can do, yet we go on YouTube and there's like 8,000 videos of stuff we're supposedly not allowed to show you guys. So
Or the company themselves has released information.
Right.
Or they'll tell us we aren't allowed to show video of something in a particular game, and then they'll put it in a press release, and then we'll contact them and be like, well, the cat's out of the bag, can we run the video? And they'll say no. So, again, this is just sort of a segment to let you guys know that there's stuff going on behind the scenes you don't know about. A lot of times when we see complaints from you guys in our comment section or wherever, a lot of times you're complaining about stuff that is completely out of our hands. I think I saw last week somebody saying that they thought our previews were all paid for because we don't do a lot of previews. Well, the truth is that, we can only do previews for certain games. They don't send us preview code for every game. Somebody had said, why didn't you put up a Bully preview? Well, we weren't allowed to do a video preview from Bully. Rockstar wouldn't allow it. So don't always just take things as face value out there. Trust us when we say we're trying to get all the hot media up for you guys as quickly as possible. There may be other stuff going on that you don't know about. So just trust in us that we're trying to hook you guys up, and that's that.
What kind of monster drinks in front of children?
Hey guys, I got an idea.
What's
What's that?
Let's talk about Dark Sector. Kind of derivative, kind of original action game. Overall, I think it's not that bad. They have some cool ideas. Technically, the game looks okay.
Well, I mean, they redesigned this thing like 3 times. This was like the first next-gen game, like back in like 04.
04, yeah.
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah.
Dark Sector, next gen. We're going to release a CG rendered screenshot.
Dudes in space.
Yeah, it's kind of like they globbed on RE4 stuff with crawls.
Gears and
Gears of
crawl.
War, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Resident Gears of Crawl.
What's the black market
How
dude?
do you
who's in
actually
the-
catch that
yeah.
thing? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, how do you catch it? How does they rationalize
It's part of his hand, so it's part of you. It's extra personal.
It's kind of silly.
Finishing
to-
moves.
Yeah, it's kind of silly to have like a pistol in one hand and the glaive in the other. It's like,
Well, it is nice that you
What's
can
the point
use
of
them both
having,
at the same
yeah,
time.
both?
You toss it out, and then you can,
I guess the advantage is the glaive never runs out of ammo, right?
Yeah,
And
you
it can pick up the
use it-
fire and ice and et cetera.
Yeah, you can pick up a briefcase that's 5 feet away, and you can't quite reach it.
so how does multiplayer work in Dark Sector?
Did you want to ask if everyone has a glaive or not?
Sure.
Because they don't. Mentioned earlier, there's 2 modes. In one, there's one guy takes the role of I think the dude's name is Hayden, so you're the super mutant, and you're going against the squad of like normal dudes with guns. And if you kill the super mutant, then you get the powers, and then everyone's trying to kill you. The other mode is like squad versus squad, and each squad has like a guy with the crazy bioglaive infection powers, and there's an invisibility power and a shield. So I don't know. It's the single player is the focus. The online is not super huge, but it's always nice when they try.
Is there a reason why he runs so slow? That is just the one thing that I've noticed in watching him
Well,
playing that game.
it's
He
the
runs
control
so
scheme.
slow.
The control scheme. It really is kind of
Wonky?
it's got the Resident Evil weight. It's got the kind of Resident Evil 4. You probably want to stop to aim feel. You don't backpedal very fast.
What do you think, Justin? Should people go out and buy the game?
It definitely is another game to play.
Fact.
Fact.
Yeah. Steering the glaive into cutting off limbs, decapitating guys. That's always fun.
With the 6-axis.
But it's an action game. It's more or less straightforward. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not a bad way to kill some time, kill some people.
Cool.
2 birds with 1 glaive. Sorry.
I didn't hear that. Can you say that one more
That
time?
was awesome.
There you
Justin
go.
just gave me the finger.
There's another bird.
Oh, I think
glaive- I don't have a glaive
that's
for
Zing
you.
of the show. That's a new segment, hidden segment.
Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. I don't even know which order it's supposed
It's
to be.
Crisis
It's
Core
Crisis
first.
Core first, yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
That probably wasn't smart, right? They probably should have called it Final Fantasy VII first. So, let's do it.
Twitchy.
I think I'd go with slotty because of the slot machine thing, and it's also really putting itself out there for fans. It's making itself available.
No hyphen?
It's giving people what they
No
want.
hyphen this week.
Well,
And I don't even know what that is.
Hyphenate crisis more, noob. Yeah. That's totally fair.
And I'm not so sure that slotty is a word.
It sounds
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
cool,
it
though.
is.
I think I knew some
He's
girls in
having-
high school who were slotty.
Yeah. To
I
follow
just-
the way of the spear, you must hyphenate.
Yeah. Well, this time you don't need a hyphen. It's just a slotty game. It's cool though.
I got
Patrick?
a hyphen in mind this week. Final Fantaservice.
Fanta. Don't you want
Don't you want it? Yeah.
I guess.
Next up, Bloodworth. One-word review for Crisis Core.
Mine was pretty close to Justin's. I would just have to say jackpot. Because the slot machines and because I think they finally came up with the Final Fantasy VII spin-off that people actually care about.
And my one-word review for Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is milkage.
Dry humping the cash
They
cow.
are milking that cow for all it's worth, and it's going to be even worse with Final Fantasy 13. They've already announced, 3 games with the Final
Well,
Fantasy
and
13
Kingdom
moniker?
Hearts has like, what,
Yeah.
a billion?
Yeah, what are some of the
Half?
goofy
Kingdom
names
Hearts
for
has a ton.
the upcoming Kingdom Hearts games?
Like
358.
368 over 12 or something like that.
And I hate math.
It's a fraction.
Catchy. Anyway, that's this week's episode of Invisible Walls. Come on back next week. We are a weekly show, so as you know, interaction is a big part of the show. We read your first questions on the show this week. We want more. Ryan, where should they go to interact with the show?
They can go to invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com. Read our blog. You know it. Everyone-
they, can
they
read
got
the
it.
blog.
Yeah.
What about the email address? That's new. We just got an email address.
They can write invisiblewalls@gametrailers.com.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you guys getting behind the show. Like I said, keep giving us the feedback, and we'll keep making it better. We'll see you next week.